Starting cyclamen from seed. 1. Soak cyclamen seeds in warm water for 12 to 24 hours. Soaking the seeds will soften their seed coats, allowing them to sprout more easily. Soak them in a cup of warm water for 12 to 24 hours. After soaking, rinse the seeds off with room temperature water. 2. Sow the seeds into pots of compost 0.5 in 1.3 centimeters deep. Fill small pots with compost, sow the seeds 0.5 in 1.3 centimeters deep, spacing them evenly apart. They only need to be spaced a few inches or centimeters apart, so feel free to sow multiple seeds in a single pot. Sprinkle a thin layer of vermiculite or compost over the seeds. 14. 3. Cover the pot to block out the light and encourage germination. Water the soil lightly, then cover the pot with a sheet of glass and a piece of black tarp. This will shut out the light and encourage germination. Keep the temperature no higher than 60 degrees Fahrenheit to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, 16 degrees Celsius to 21 degrees Celsius. 4. Wait 30 to 60 days for seedlings to appear. Check the pot frequently for sprouting. It usually takes 30 to 60 days. Once the seedlings appear, remove the glass and tarp. Place the pot in a sunny window. 5. Plant the seedlings in separate pots when 2 to 3 leaves appear. Each seedling will feature a tiny tuber or cormetus bottom, which it grows out of. Once the seedlings have 2 to 3 leaves on them, transplant them into their own pots of compost to give them room to grow. Make sure the tiny tubers sit level with the soil. Caring for cyclamen plants in the garden. 1. Plant the corm or young plant in a shady area in early fall. Cyclamen are winter bloomers, so the best time to plant the corm or young plant in the ground is early fall. Don't plant them too early, since they may react badly to the late summer heat. They love light but not direct sunlight, so choose a shady area of your garden that gets partial sun. In their natural habitat, cyclamen bloom under large deciduous trees and along rocky, shaded ridges. If any area of your garden is similar to this, your cyclamen will love to be planted there. Avoid planting cyclamen seed directly in the ground. Start the seed indoors. Once it sprouts, the corm develops and the plant grows out of the corm. 2. Plant them in rich soil that drains well. Cyclamen do well in a wide range of soil types, although they tend to like sandy or clay soil the most. To check drainage, dig a 1 foot 30 centimeters by 1 foot 30 centimeters hole and fill it with water. If the water soaks into the ground in 10 minutes or less, it drains well. If it hasn't absorbed into the ground after an hour, it has poor drainage. To improve drainage, add organic matter like compost, manure, or peat moss. Cyclamen will rot in soggy soil that doesn't drain well. 3. Check the soil pH for a slightly acidic range of 6 to 7. Cyclamen like slightly acidic soil. To test your soil, buy a kit from a home improvement store or nursery and follow the instructions. Anything under a pH level of 6 is too acidic, anything above 7 is too alkaline. If you need to reduce your soil's acidity, add garden limestone to it. To raise the acidity, add sulfur, gypsum, or sphagnum peat moss. 4. Plant them 2 in 5.1 centimeters deep and 6 in 15 centimeters apart. Cyclamen are small plants, usually only reaching about 8 in 20 centimeters tall and 6 in 15 centimeters in diameter. 12 cyclamen don't need tons of room, and they aren't competitive with other plants for root space either. You can plant them among trees and shrubs. A small amount of the corm should be above ground when you plant it. 5. Water cyclamen frequently from fall until spring. Cyclamen need water during their blooming season, which runs from fall until late spring. Check the soil daily and if it feels dry, give them water. Try to keep the soil moist at all times. Water cyclamen at their bases, not over their crowns, or you may encourage rot. Cyclamen go into dormancy in early summer. Do not water them during this time. 6. Cover the plants during freezing temperatures. Although they love cool conditions, cyclamens aren't fans of frost. Whenever a frost is in the forecast, cover them with a lightweight plastic sheet, or even loose leaves or evergreen boughs. That's all the protection they need. Remove the covering as soon as you're able to after the threat of frost has passed. 7. Check the foliage regularly for aphids. Pests aren't a big problem for cyclamen. However, aphid infestations are known to happen. Luckily, they tend to overrun a plant when the leaves are in decline and the cyclamen is headed for dormancy. These infestations are usually very light and the aphids tend to die off pretty quickly, so in most cases you won't even need to do anything. If the infestation looks severe, cut back the foliage all the way down to the tuber. 8. Stop watering when the blooms fade in late spring or early summer. When blooms stop forming and start to fade away, stop watering the cyclamen. During the summer, cyclamen go into dormancy and do not need water. Their leaves turn yellow and they look nearly dead. They aren't, though. Once the soil gets dry, leave it that way for the rest of the summer. If the soil stays moist while the plants are dormant, the tuber will rot. If you get a lot of rainfall during the summer, dig up the corn and store it indoors until fall. Keep the corm in a box of dry peat moss, start watering the corms again in the fall, and your cyclamen will spring back to life. By following these care tips, your indoor cyclamen can thrive and produce beautiful blooms throughout the cooler months, adding elegance and vibrancy to your indoor space.